You guys know I've lost 58 pounds and reversed my menopause symptoms just eating through whole foods and plant-based and incorporating anything soy into my diet. So I have one of our members that has asked me for recipes and what do we eat and how do I eat soy in what different types of meals and recipes. So I thought I would show you guys my staples, my things that I do. You guys can incorporate it however you want. I would start by Googling soy recipes, soy milk recipes, tofu recipes. For those of you that don't like tofu, I say experiment until you find the way that you will tolerate tofu. I didn't love it in the beginning, but because I am convinced that it helped all of my menopause symptoms, I will eat soy every single day, 1 or 2 times a day, and I will never falter from it. If I forget to eat my soy yogurt in the morning, which I'll show you guys in a minute, I still have it in the afternoon, or I have some other forms of soy. I was talking with my sister yesterday, and I was telling her that I thought I was making things up in my head because I had not eaten my soy yogurt chia pudding that I make every single morning, and suddenly I started feeling kind of like a little hot flashy at night, and I was like, this must be in my head. And then I started panicking, going, oh my God, are my symptoms coming back or not? And then I remembered that I hadn't been having my soy yogurt chia pudding consistently. And I had skipped a couple days and I was eating oatmeal and other things. So I went right back to it. Lo and behold, it is my miracle cure. It might not help all of you, but all I can say is it's natural. It doesn't hurt to try. I can debunk all the myths that you think are out there about soy being bad or soy causing cancer. It does not cause cancer. It doesn't give men boobies. It's actually very good for men's prostate cancer prevention, and it's very good for women's cancer prevention. And if you've had cancer, it's very good for women to have a soy in their diet as a future cancer reoccurrence prevention. So as many of you know, my sister is my go-to. She's a physician, so I go to her with all of these concerns, and I kind of just give her the ball and I go, answer my questions when I'm doubtful about something. And then she goes into her research dives if she doesn't have it at her fingertips, which usually she does. And so when I get really doubtful, she digs in even further to give me the information. So I've also found Dr. Christy Funk, which Jane Esselstyn talked about at her lecture that we went to in Lakeland, Florida. And Dr. Christy Funk is a physician that is a breast cancer surgeon. She's a specialist. And she used to tell her patients and wanted to tell her patients, believed that soy was not good for her patients. And then she decided to write a book that I have outlined in the prior post to this one, and if any of you want to read it. And then in her research, when she dove really deep into the lifestyle and diet that women should have to take care of themselves for menopause, for cancer prevention, and for health, she realized that soy is actually very beneficial to women, and that all those myths that are out there about estrogen and soy, they have been debunked. Science has proven that soy is good for you. So I'll leave you with that. You can search on our page at the top. There's a little magnifying glass. You can search soy myths. I have the 4 articles there. Read them if you're still doubtful. Go research Dr. Christy Funk and see what she says about it. She talks extensively about soy and why it's beneficial to women. And Jane Esselstyn backed her up by doing it in her lecture and saying that they brought Christy Funk to do a lecture for the Esselstyn Foundation, and she actually talked for 23 minutes about the benefits of soy out of her little segment that she had in the lecture. So I'm going to start by showing you all the things that I do for soy, for menopause prevention and for my own personal women's health. Because I want to stay the healthiest that I can, but also I do not want to go back to sleepless nights and acne and the hot flashes and anxiety and all the things that I was suffering with menopause. All of that has gone away. It's literally like a miracle cure. This is my morning breakfast every single day. Soy yogurt, soy chia yogurt underneath. I have half a jar of it every single morning. This is 12 ounces. I'm going to show you how I make it too, because this is my soy yogurt. Unmade, it doesn't have chia yet. It is just soy yogurt, which I use for sour creams and sauces and, you know, mayonnaise on bread. And I can put spices in it and spread it on bread like a sandwich bread. I can put it into recipes. I can use it as yogurt into muffins or however I want. But when I add chia to it, it becomes my soy yogurt chia every single morning. So I have 6 ounces of that. I put an entire pint of berries or fruit, any kind that you want. And one of our members said that fresh berries are expensive, so another member suggested, thank you for doing that, several members suggested using frozen berries and letting them thaw, and they're much more inexpensive, and you can get them at all. I've even seen them at the dollar store, and you can get the little packets of the frozen berries. So it doesn't have to be berries, but I like berries because of the minerals and the vitamins and the qualities that berries have for our health. So I do put my berries on my food in the morning. So 1 pint of berries, I do my granola on top, which has pepitas, which is pumpkin seeds, and that adds protein to it. So this is every single morning. If I need to, I drizzle it. If my berries aren't sweet, I drizzle it with a tiny bit of maple syrup. One of our members, the one that asked me about all these recipes, so my answer to you is try this soy yogurt chia pudding, because you can drizzle maple syrup until you kind of develop a taste for the tofu, and then over time maybe you won't even notice that you're eating tofu and you get mind over matter. So I drizzle it with a tiny bit of maple syrup or a tiny bit of honey, or my newest favorite way to eat it is with one of the vinegars from one of the companies that makes balsamic vinegars, high quality balsamic vinegars that are without sauce, without salt, oil, or sugars, or any other added ingredients. So I like California balsamic. This is a lavender balsamic, delicious with my blackberries. Or Al Zaytun is another company that I bought, and they do ship, and their lemon with blackberry, delicious. I also have a coconut one that I put on here. When I first did it, my husband was like, that is disgusting. You're putting vinegar on your soy. No, I'm not. It's a high quality vinegar. It doesn't taste like vinegar. It's almost like a maple syrup. That's how good these balsamic vinegars are. I would never make a dressing out of these because they're, 1, expensive, and 2, they're so delicious they don't need to be made into a dressing. So I wouldn't even use them as a dressing. I would just use them as a drizzle and use them on top of your food. So it's that good. It's like maple syrup. So that's going to go on top of mine. So in order to make my, let's stay in order so I can get through all these recipes. In order to make my soy chia yogurt, I always transpose the words. I just take my chia, and as you notice, I only have half a jar of soy yogurt here. Just half a jar, which is 6 ounces. I can still make my soy yogurt. If my yogurt is up to here, I add the same amount of chia into here, stir it up, close the lid, stick it back in the fridge. In a couple hours, it's soy chia yogurt. I only have half a jar. It's okay. I'm going to add some extra soy milk to it. It's still going to become soy chia yogurt. And in a couple of hours, I will have, the chia seeds will bloom. So I usually put 3 to 4 in here. And then I just stir it up with a fork, because with a fork, I feel like it goes through the tines of the fork and it stirs it up better. And so I just stir it up, put the lid on it, and I'm gonna stick it in the fridge, and I have my jars of soy. I'm gonna put this in here. I have my soy chia yogurt. Now I'm gonna finish it up with soy milk. I'm using Eden soy, which is a new milk that I found because I couldn't get Amazon to ship me my Westlife quickly enough, and I was too lazy to go to Walmart or any store that had it. So I went ahead and ordered the Eden soy to try it, because the Eden soy is as good as the Westlife because they're both very pure. It only has soybeans and water. This only has soybeans and water. When you're making my soy yogurt, very important that you use one of these two. It cannot be one that has anything else on the ingredients label. If it has salt, sodium, sugar, oils, Any preservatives, no, 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 don't use it. So only these two can be used for my soy yogurt. So look, I filled it up to the top. I'm gonna give it another stir. And I'm gonna put my lid on it. I'm gonna throw my, I love cooking because I make a mess in my sink and then I clean it up. It's kind of my thing. I like making a mess because otherwise I'm pretty organized. Although I haven't taken Christmas off, I don't know if you guys have, but here's my soy chia yogurt. So it's gonna go in a row with, never mind, I'm in shorts, I'm in like workout stuff. So I'm gonna put it in my little row of, and see, I actually have to make another batch of my yogurt because normally I have 3 of these in here, and I'm down to my last one. And I'm having my breakfast that I showed you. I'm down to my last one. So tonight I'm gonna set my Instant Pot to make soy yogurt. And I have 3 tablespoons of yogurt here as the culture starter, which is my own yogurt. Or I can use any yogurt to do it. I can use any plant-based yogurt. 3 tablespoons and 1 entire carton of this makes my soy yogurt. 15 to 17 hours in the Instant Pot. So, easiest recipe ever. I have it. It's on my Instagram. It's also on this page. It's so easy. I feel bad telling you guys because nobody believes me how easy it is, and if I can get people to make it, they continue to make it. So, that's the soy yogurt. We've got my soy chia pudding in there, and the next thing that we're going to make that I like to keep is going to be, I'm going to do the tofu cubes. So, Jane Esselstyn makes them a little bit more teriyaki-y, and in their book, Be a Plant-Based Woman, a Warrior, the one that she has written with her mom, they do a sauce that has maple syrup, tamari soy sauce. So tamari is soy sauce. Ooh, I feel like I have to sneeze. Tamari is soy sauce, but it has less sodium. And so you need to, if you find soy sauce and you can't find tamari, just buy soy sauce that has the lowest milligrams of sodium. So I like tamari. I like to put maple syrup in it. I'm going to try the Jane Esselstyn way and put the tomato paste in it to kind of make it teriyaki-y. So I will usually take, I'm going to take my plate here. I will take a block of tofu and I will slice it. I've drained it and I've kind of patted it with a paper towel, and then I sliced it down the middle like this. I hope you guys can see, like that. And then I'm gonna do it in strips and cube it. And I'm gonna try and keep them consistent. And then I'm going to mix the ingredients and make the quickest sauce ever. So this all here that we're doing should take us no more than 20 minutes. And I'm making a lot of stuff. It's gonna prep, it's gonna go in the fridge. And that's why I say food prep, don't meal prep. So I've got my cubes here. If you food prep and don't meal prep, you're always gonna have reachable grab and go foods, and you're going to be fine. So I'm gonna eyeball this because I kind of know. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of the maple syrup, and I'm going to do like 1, I'm not gonna make it too sodium-y, 1 tablespoon of the soy sauce and the tamari soy sauce. And then I'm going to put like 1 tablespoon of this tomato paste. Now, you could put also sesame seeds in here. What I like to do is cook the tofu first in the air fryer. And then once I do that, then I will sprinkle it with sesame seeds, toasted sesame seeds, because I don't want the sesame seeds to burn while this is cooking. So, and the other way to do it is you make this sauce, you leave this sauce on the side, and then you coat it once it comes out. You can even heat the sauce a little bit, and then you toss it and coat it with the sesame seeds in the sauce. So it's your preference. Sometimes I don't like my air fryer to get dirty with the sauce and everything, and I don't want to have to clean it. So I just do the tofu, and I literally just take the tofu. I'm going to do half I have a dual Ninja air fryer, so I'm gonna put half of these in here plain, and then I'm gonna do the other half with the sauce. And normally I do them plain, and then I coat them and put the sesame seeds. Let me go get the other one. So this is my other, I really love my dual because I can do multiple things at once with it. So, whoops, I was gonna do this one in the sauce. So, I got overzealous here. Okay, so I'm gonna toss this one in the sauce. I'm gonna put it in the air fryer, and I'm gonna cook it while it's coated. And the other ones, I'm gonna cook uncoated, and then I'll make the sauce for the other ones to get tossed after they come out, and I'll just have it both ways. So it's your preference. You can play with it and see which palates to you better, which way, you know, tastes better to you. I also like to cut the tofu in cubes and make stir fries, and I will put the tofu into the stir fries. If you're having a bunch of veggies, and if you add water chestnuts to your stir fries, this is yummy. Ooh, that's yummy. Tastes like a delicious, like pure teriyaki, not like a store-bought processed one. So I'm gonna put this in, and I'll be right back. So I'm gonna put it in the air fryer, and I'm going to do match cook, air fry, and I'm going to do around 15 minutes to start. I'm going to do air fry around 390 for about 15 minutes to start. I go periodically and shake them and toss them around, and then when they get to the crunch that I like for them to be a little crispy on the outside and creamy on the inside. And like I was saying, if you put them in stir fries and you pre-air fry them, then you have a little toastedness on the outside. But if you don't air fry them and you just like them soft, you can throw them into air fries. You're not even going to know they're there if you toss a can of water chestnuts or water chestnuts with your stir fry, because the water chestnuts is going to give your stir fry a crunch. So I always put water chestnuts in my stir fry so that it gives me a crunch. So if the tofu are there, you don't even know they're there. They kind of look like mushrooms. Once they're coated with the sauce and everything, you kind of think you're eating a mushroom, and it doesn't taste like anything. So the tofu that I was using here was an Extra Firm. So I'm gonna make a little bit more sauce so for when my other ones come out. So just 1 tablespoon, and I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon of the tamari. I'm telling you, I like quick, easy, no recipes. I do write them down for you guys, but I'm telling you, those of you that tell me that you don't know how to cook, you don't need to know how to cook to do this. It's so easy. If you do need the recipe, the teriyaki sauce that Jane Esselstyn makes is in the Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior book, or this, 1 tablespoon of the maple, 1 to 2 tablespoons of the maple. I'm gonna put a little bit more maple in here, and then the soy sauce. That's it. I'm actually gonna, you know what? I'm gonna make a little bit bigger of the sauce because I can coat it, but also if I have any left of this sauce, I stick it in a little jar, and then I use it for other stuff. Like if I took jackfruit and shredded jackfruit, then we can have like a, you know, pork sandwich or something. Not pork, but jackfruit sandwich, and it's shredded. And it kind of imitates a sloppy joe or something like that. So there's my sauce. So now we've done tofu, the Extra Firm tofu, that way. So I'm going to show you our favorite little dessert. So, and before I talk about that, another way to eat the soy. You buy a bag of the pod edamame, and for those of you that don't like tofu, this might be the replacement. You buy bags, I have bags and bags in the freezer of not just the podded edamames in the pod, but shelled. These are not in the pod. So I use these for recipes. I can make edamame guacamole just like you would guacamole. I cook them and then I put them in the mini processor this mini processor, and then I blend them up like a guacamole, and I put the same spices that a guacamole has. And I might put a little soy yogurt in it, soy yogurt, to make it smoother. And then these we just eat plain. You can also put spices on them. You can put like garlic seasoning blends or Benson's Table Tasty or any blends of spices that you like. You can steam these in the microwave. It's like 3 minutes in the microwave. These are also 3 minutes in the microwave. I don't follow the instructions. I like 3 minutes in the microwave, whether it's a small packet or a big packet. 3 minutes in the microwave, or I will open this packet and take half out in 3 minutes in the microwave. These pods I don't even put water or anything. I just stick them in a bowl and heat them, or I heat them in a bag, which I shouldn't because it's plastic. But here's the potted edamame, same thing. Toss them in spices and steam them in the microwave, or just steam them plain. I like them plain. So this is a great snack to have. It keeps you busy because they're in the pods, so you're chewing, and it's just a great snack in a bowl with nothing else. And if you want to, this can go in salads cold, it can go in pastas warm, it can go in dishes warm, it can go in stir fries. Whenever I'm doing a stir fry, if I don't want to put tofu in it, I put edamame. So that's another way to do it. So I'm going to show you, I'm getting to our favorite one. So my favorite one that I keep in the fridge, and you guys know I like to cook, but I like to cook quick and easy. So I have these little jars, and you can do any little jars that you want. I have these little jars, and then I have tiny little cups like you would drink juice out of. So I take these little jars, and then, oh, and sorry, that had chia in it. It's not dirty. It just had chia because I put the fork in it. Here's my little jars like you would drink juice out of, and these have a little lid. I keep these in the fridge in a row. Right now I have 6 of them. We've already gone through some of them. You could eat this for breakfast or for dessert. We've been eating it for dessert, but you could eat this for breakfast because this is silken tofu, and you take a container of silken. It has to say silken. If not, you're gonna end up with this crumbly tofu dessert that you're gonna hate. So there is such a thing as silken tofu, and silken means that it is gonna be completely smooth. They have made the tofu to where it's very smooth. So no matter what application or recipe or whatever that you use, you're gonna get a very smooth creaminess out of it. So I usually take the block of silken tofu, extra firm or firm. I don't like to get too soft because then my pudding is gonna be too soft. And I buy them on Amazon. I go to the Asian store. Sometimes the regular stores like Walmart and grocery stores have them. So for this silken cocoa pudding, I also sometimes call it silken cocoa mousse, depending on if I make it a little thicker. So right now it's a pudding. I have 3 chocolate chips, 3 oat milk chocolate chips on top of here. So it's kind of a treat. This is dessert. If I didn't have the chocolate chips, I would fill the jar or make little bigger jars, and I would keep them individually in the fridge, and I would pull them out for breakfast, put granola and berries on top, just like my soy yogurt. So this is delicious. I'm gonna show you how to make it because I always make it in chocolate because my husband loves chocolate. This is just 3 ingredients. Maple syrup, the silken tofu, blended in a processor with cocoa. That's it. You put enough cocoa in and you taste it until it tastes like chocolate to you. So there's no recipe to it. It's just a block of silken extra firm tofu, the cocoa, I use about 2 to 3 tablespoons, and the maple syrup. And I like to use a maple syrup that's not too strong so that it's not so overpowering for the chocolate pudding, but maybe you like it more overpowering, so you could use an amber. So this is delicious. So, but I'm gonna make it in vanilla because in like a vanilla honey, no, actually I'm gonna make it in coconut flavor. So this time what I did is I took the silken extra firm tofu and I put it in a bowl last night, took it out of the container, drained the water. And to make the silken coconut pudding for breakfast or dessert, I drained it in a towel because I want to get a little bit more thickness to it. So I'm gonna put it in my processor, and if it's too thick, then I'm gonna use a little bit of soy milk, but just tiny bits, drizzling it to be able to loosen it, to be able to blend it. Because I might have left it in the fridge a little too long. I think and depends on your towel that you use, how much moisture it's gonna pull out of it. So I've got my Silken Extra Firm Tofu. And I can already see that I'm probably going to need one of my soy milks. So I'm gonna put coconut, again, no measuring. So I'm gonna put coconut extract, probably, yep, like 1.5 to 2 teaspoons. And then I'm going to use honey. So about 1.5. So you can use, I would use a light honey. So not a darker honey, because I just kind of want a cleaner flavor of the coconut. So let me see if I did this. Yep, okay. So I'm gonna blend it until I see that it's pudding smooth. And I'm sorry, we have a lot of noises going on here because I'm also cooking chickpeas. And you see, I don't know at how many minutes we are so far, but you can see that here in just a couple minutes, I've been able to prep a bunch of stuff, and all of that can go in the fridge to pull, grab, and go. So I'm gonna put a tiny bit, and I'm gonna start with a tiny bit of the milk, and I'm gonna keep this blending going until it looks like a smooth pudding. And then I'm gonna taste it and make sure that I don't have to adjust the flavor. Then I'm gonna put it in my little jars. And I don't have special little lids like this one has, so I'll just put a little saran wrap on top or the little rubber things on here to hold it, and I will stick them in the fridge, and I will have a little deliciousness for breakfast that I can put granola and berries on, or I can use it as dessert. So I'm gonna try it and see what it tastes like. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I haven't been making this for myself. Like, my husband is the chocolate guy, and I'm always cooking to please him, because one of the things that happened during Whole Food Plant-Based is that I cooked for his flavors so that he would stick with it. That's one of the tricks. If you have a family member that you want to accompany you doing this, and you want them to taste things and not go, ew, you're feeding me plant-based, because some people can't psychologically get over that. Even though I love to say, well, don't you eat side dishes? That's basically what you're eating, except we took the meat out. We took the animal out. So same thing, if you make delicious side dishes, delicious, you're gonna eat delicious. So in order to keep him interested, 2 things. He needed to see the statistics. He needed to see it on paper. So he's a nerd about his medical lab work, and he can show you charts, mine and his, of our improvements and where he was at and where he's at now. Now that's a little personal. I don't know if he'd ever go into sharing details like that, but that is why we stick with it, because it convinced him. And the other reason is because I cook to his flavors. He loves Chinese, he loves Indian food, he loves Latin food, he loves Mexican food, really loves Mexican food. I do not, but I cook to his flavors, and I make things that I would also eat so that I could accompany him, and I ended up falling in love with the stuff that he loves, like Mexican food that I haven't really loved because I did it for our taste buds. And we created dishes instead of replacing. So I wasn't like, here's cheese, here's vegan cheese. No, vegan cheese is terrible. It's filled with things. Here's mac and cheese, and here's whole food mac and cheese. No, because I'm gonna be just like disappointing the person. I don't want to replace one for one. So I would just make Mexican flavors, Chinese flavors, Indian flavors, the flavors to get him. Not the, here's a taco for taco. No, I would just say it's a dish, it's a meal, try it. Do you like it? And he would say, yeah. And I would be like, okay, then it's not what you think it is, it's just a delicious dish. So this is getting there, and it is delicious. Highly recommend it. 2 teaspoons of the coconut extract, and make sure that you get extracts that don't have extra yucky stuff in them. And then I put about 1.5 tablespoons of a light honey, like a clear honey. But you can choose any one that you want, like a wildflower honey. Those of you that live out in California, which, oh my gosh, the news out of California is so terrible. I feel like we did when we went through the hurricane. So I'm going to put this in my little, I love to do this for parties too, by the way. If I have girlfriends or luncheons or whatever, I love to come up with dishes that are going to be just incredible on the palate and the taste buds. And then nobody's going to be like, ew, tofu? So here we go, silken tofu. And we've got it in coconut with honey. That's it, 3 ingredients. And my hardest part was taking a bowl and putting my extra firm silken tofu to soak overnight, which was no big deal. And then now my sister's made she's made a menace, or she's created a good monster, because now she's got me cooking beans in the Instant Pot when I was only using my Instant Pot for doing my soy yogurt. And she was like, but you could use your Instant Pot for so much more. And I was so resistant, because I'm one of those cooks that tastes and goes as she cooks, and the Instant Pot is closed and I can't taste what I'm doing in there. And she said, okay, then don't flavor your food when you use the Instant Pot, but at least don't buy cans. Don't hunt all the grocery stores looking for cans that only have black beans and water. Make it yourself. Take the black beans and boil them in the Instant Pot yourself, and it's like if you had canned black beans. I'm saving so much more money. It takes no effort at all. I take a bag of beans in the morning, I stick them in a bowl, throw water in there, because I saw my sister doing it when I visited her in France. And then I sit there and let them soak for a couple hours. And when I see that they bloomed and that they filled up the bowl, I drain them. I rinse them really well, throw them in the Instant Pot for the minutes that that bean requires. And one of the things that I love now is that it takes minutes. Like sometimes dal takes 0 minutes. I didn't even know the Instant Pot had a 0 setting. She's the one that told me, my sister. And I was like, what? And so like dal, I do 0 minutes, and lentils might be 2 or 3 minutes. So imagine that, cooking for 2 or 3 minutes, and the machine is doing it for you, and you open it, you flavor it with some spices, throw it on some rice. And if you do your rice in the Instant Pot, which I do, I make a big batch of rice, and I keep it in a bag, or I keep it in a container in my fridge so that it's always available. I have quinoa, I have black rice, red rice, brown rice. I have all sorts of grains already cooked in my fridge so that I can create a bowl at any time. So those of you that have asked for veggie bowl recipes, there is no recipe. I just take the things that I have food prepped in my fridge, throw as many as I can into a bowl, because the more variety, the more multivitamins and minerals and stuff that you have on your plate. So it's just that easy. So that is it, guys. I have my little coconut puddings here, and then just imagine tomorrow I'm going to put granola and berries. I can dump this out into a bowl. If I wanted a bigger breakfast, I would, do 2 of them. But you also have to remember that tofu has saturated fat. So when you buy tofu, make sure that you're looking at the saturated fat and that you're seeing what the saturated fat number is. Let me see if I have a silken tofu that I can show you guys. So, yes, I do. So, this silken tofu has 0 saturated fat. And actually, silken tofu is one of the lowest in saturated fat. The firmer you go, usually they have more saturated fat. So I like to pick the one with the least saturated fat and pay attention, but it's still going to be very good for you. So this is going to be just the silken tofu. This is what it looks like. It comes just like the other tofu, but it's going to say silken. And if you can find it saying extra firm or firm, then that's even better. So that's kind of what I use for these. So this one, this whole packet is what I made here. And the serving size, it says, let's see, 5 servings per container. So this as much as I put a little bit more than a serving per person because it'll just be 3. But this is going to be then great for a breakfast, even though it's not a big bowl like my soy yogurt, because it already has, it's less quantity, but you're getting more power punch into it. So then I just have to eat this, put my granola on it, and I might put berries on it. And if I want to put a whole pint of berries, then I'm going to dump it out in the bowl, put the whole pint of berries, and then put my granola on it. So, and it's going to keep you full. The tofu is going to satiate you. So I am going to let you guys go. I think I covered all of the tofu and edamame and things that you guys could have. I think I'm going to do a little bit of the lavender today, the lavender vinegar, and or maybe half, like half one flavor and half the other. So all it takes is a tiny little drizzle. And so I'm going to do this side with it. The other reason why I got these vinegars is because I can use maybe a little bit more liberally than the maple syrup, because the maple syrup, you should be mindful of using it. So now I can just sweeten my stuff without having to be like, well, should I really be using that? So, and it only takes just a tiny, tiny little bit. So the maple syrup is okay to use, but remember Dr. Esselstyn says be very mindful with it. You don't want to overdo it. So there we go. That is it. That is my soy yogurt for breakfast. I put one vinegar that was lemon on it, and then the other one is lavender balsamic, I think. Lavender balsamic, white balsamic. So that is it. I'll leave you.
Food is medicine. Thank you for joining me today.